What is going on, guys, and welcome back to Touchdowns to Home Runs. My name is Bernie. Thank you for joining us today on the Touchdowns to Home Runs post-game show. Hope that your day is going absolutely fantastic. We now have a final score from this week's Big Ten Tournament Conference semi-final matchup between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Michigan Wolverines. Ohio State took this one by a score of 68-67. And boy, what a matchup this was. I mean, you talk about a rivalry, teams who played such a competitive matchup in their first game that they played this year, and did not disappoint in each of these teams' biggest games so far of the season. And it's unfortunate that my Michigan Wolverines couldn't get the job done, but almost completed the comeback, had a shot to win it at the buzzer with Mike Smith. It was not a great shot selection. But you look at this game as a whole, and you know, besides about a 10-minute blip in the middle of the second half, this was a pretty quality game from the Michigan Wolverines, I think, who played this one without Isaiah Livers. And going back to last year, we know how tough it has been for the Michigan Wolverines to play without him. You know, at the end of the day, even if he doesn't fill up the stat sheet, he's really the backbone of this team. And I think you saw it affect this game in particular in a lot of different ways. But again, I thought Michigan played really well. You come into this game and you know, you knew that Michigan had to check a few boxes in terms of their game plan. You knew that they were running a smaller rotation, so you knew that they had to stay out of foul trouble and play really solid defensively, particularly, again, without fouling. And Michigan did a great job at that for the most part, besides at the end, you know, midway through that second half when you had Dickinson and Wagner both playing through foul trouble. And eventually Franz Wagner ended up fouling out. And I actually think that was the difference in the game. But overall, Michigan did a pretty good job of limiting turnovers. I think both teams did. Ohio State until the end. But overall, I think it came down to the way that Ohio State just shot the lights out of the basketball. And again, credit to them. They're going to be playing in the Big Ten Tournament Finals tomorrow against the winner of this afternoon's game between Illinois and Iowa. And what a game that's going to be. But again, congratulations to Ohio State fans from a Michigan fan, and that's not easy to say. But I've said it all year. You guys are such a talented team. You guys have so much talent, especially in that starting lineup. And again, I think we saw it today. A really solid game, I think, on both sides from both of these teams. Let's move on to the box score. We'll start with the Michigan Wolverines. Hunter Dickinson led the way for them, 21 points. He was pretty efficient today, also added on 8 rebounds, active on the defensive side of the floor, shot 9-14, but really solid late, I thought. You know, you had some big numbers from guys in your starting lineup. You had 10 from Mike Smith, 12 from Eli Brooks, 7 from Brandon Johns, who I thought did a tremendous job filling in for Isaiah Livers and also filling up the stat sheet with also 2 assists and 8 rebounds. Franz Wagner as well had 8 points, but Michigan didn't really shoot the ball very well outside of really Hunter Dickinson. You look at Mike Smith, 1 of 11 coming off his historic night. You also look at Franz Wagner shooting 2 of 10. And again, even though some of these guys were active on the defensive side of the floor, and I don't think, you know, they were necessarily as bad as their shooting numbers show, I do think that Michigan had some really bad shot selections. And I think some of that's a credit to, you know, possibly being tired, just an off game. But I think a lot of that has to do with Isaiah Livers as well, because I just don't think that Michigan moves the ball as well, especially offensively, without him, you know, sort of helping to run that offense over there. I really hope that Isaiah Livers comes back healthy, as I'm sure pretty much every single Michigan Wolverines fan is absolutely praying for right now, because I think we could run into some troubles in the actual tournament. But hopefully he's back and healthy. I still think that we've got an extremely talented roster. I think this is a Michigan team that can make a very deep run into the actual March Madness tournament. But yeah. Looking off the bench, I mean, Sean D. Brown only shot 1 of 6, and, you know, we really needed him to step up today. He just didn't do it. But Sean D. Brown's been terrific all year, and he made the big 3, you know, at the end of the game. They gave us a chance to, you know, crawl back within that final minute. So credit to, again, him for making that shot as well. But we just didn't really play well in terms of shooting the basketball, only 34.5%. And we'll look at those a bit more in just a second. But let's flip over, look at Ohio State really quickly. And you look at 2 guys for this Ohio State team, E.J. Liddell and Duane Washinton Jr. Duane Washinton Jr. had 24 points. E.J. Liddell had 18 points, but these guys were so terrific in the second half. And you talk about two guys who absolutely just took over a basketball game. I mean, they put that on display in the second half. But I mean, really good all game. Duane Washinton Jr. shot 9 of 20, 5 of 10 from 3. Ohio State shot well over 50% from 3 this game. And again, that was the difference of the game. We know Ohio State can shoot the basketball. They did it in the first game against the Wolverines. But that was such a clinical shooting performance from them today. You look at the rest of Ohio State, I mean, besides Suing, it was pretty much those other 2 guys. They got, I think, 14 points coming off their bench, but their percentages were just so high. And we'll flip over to the team stats, take a look at that. You're talking about 42% from Ohio State from the field, but then 54.5% from 3, which are both better than Michigan's percentages. Now, Ohio State didn't shoot well from the free throw line. Michigan did. But the turnovers were in Michigan's favor, 9-2. Almost costed Ohio State at the end. And I mean, when you look at this, it's pretty split even. And it was a 1-point game for a reason. I think both teams played well at some points in the game, also played really poorly at some points in the game. Just before we end the video, let's preview the big matchup tomorrow and obviously Selection Sunday. I'd assume Michigan Wolverines, they fall down to now a 2 seed, which isn't the end of the world. Seed is not going to be as important for the Wolverines as their health is going to be. Isaiah Livers back on the court for Michigan is going to be much more of a bigger deal for them than the difference between a 1 and a 2 seed. But we'll have to see exactly where we fall in the bracket tomorrow. That's going to be tomorrow evening. Selection show starts at 6 p.m. Eastern time. As for Ohio State, they'll have a busy day tomorrow. You got the Selection Sunday, but you also got the conference tournament's finals as well before that in the afternoon. And again, playing the winner of Iowa and Illinois, which is going to be a phenomenal matchup, as I was saying before. You're talking about Luka Garza, one of the best scorers in all of Division I basketball. And on the flip side, you got Dosunmu, you got Kofi Coburn, and just such a talented team in Illinois, and they're number 3 in the country for a reason. But, Iowa with the win potentially, sneaks up to a number 1 seed if they can win today. Probably need to win tomorrow as well, but that's going to be a huge game as well for Ohio State in order to determine where they actually end up falling in the bracket. And again, difference between a number 1 and a number 2 seed. But anyways, guys, if you did make it to this point in the video, I want to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. I know Ohio State fans are fired up, but again, Michigan Wolverines fans, we have not been playing very well as of lately. So let me know down in the comment section below sort of where your head's at, what you're looking forward to in the March Madness. Let me know all of that down in the comment section below. Again, just before we end this video, congratulations to you Ohio State fans on making the conference tournament's finals. Huge accomplishment after a great year for you guys, and hopefully, we can meet again down the road deep into the March Madness tournament. But if you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to Touchdowns to Home Runs. I'm going to have March Madness coverage all throughout the rest of March and the early part of April, and also Michigan Wolverines post-game shows just like these. So if this is something you enjoy, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to stick around to never miss this content. But as always, guys, again, if you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.